Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. So it continues. The beat goes on. Same old for LeBron James fans. Matthew Dellavedova. And I'm trying to tell you guys, they have ran out of nonsense to talk about a long time ago. Now they done switched it up, and I think we done heard this before. I'm trying to tell you guys before. It's the same stuff. They have nothing to talk about. And you have guys like Draymond Green and the rest of these unclutched sports flunkies always beating up his teammates. And before we get into Matthew Dellavedova, what does this mean? What does this mean when they keep saying LeBron James carried a bunch of bums to the NBA Finals? What does that mean? Well, big picture, I hear a lot of people saying that, is making his teammates look bad and always put down his teammates, where Michael Jordan's teammates were lifted. And LeBron James will say they were lifted because they played great and helped Michael Jordan out. And if it wasn't for Michael Jordan wouldn't be in that position. And then some people say that Michael Jordan lifted his teammates. Well, it's a team sport. So you're going to meet in the middle. You need each other to get the damn thing done. In turn, you make each other great. Okay? So to me, what it means for the LeBron James case is that if he carried a bunch of bums, and this is what I'm talking about, folks. When I talk about the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, the 60s, these guys should have nipped this shit in the butt a long time ago when they start dissing your era. Okay? Especially when NBA, it's one thing for analysts to start coming out and saying this stuff, but when NBA players start dissing your era, you needed to step up a long time ago and it make these dudes eat crow. This is what it should have been about. Now, when you hear stuff like this from NBA players again, and we've heard this from NBA analysts or ESPN, whatever analysts, NBA analysts, about LeBron James carrying a bunch of nobodies, it's time for his teammates to step up and say something. Quit being bitches. This ain't the right move for you to stay silent. The right move is for you to grab your nuts and say, what the hell are you talking about? LeBron James didn't do this. He didn't do that. He went about this. He couldn't get this done. You don't just sit back and let that shit marinate on top of you and let it ruin all your efforts of you doing what you had to do to get this failure to the NBA Finals. Now, what it represents in a bigger picture is the fact that LeBron James played no competition. That's what they're really trying to say, okay? A lot of times it's funny, right? Because a lot of us, we're guilty to want just to go along with the narrative, if you will. But go along with the bullshit, right? And we want to clap back and we want to say all this stuff and we're appalled. But these guys know what they're saying. They know what they're doing. It's just trigger bait. These people ain't stupid. They're throwing in your face something easy to figure out. What a kindergartner could figure out. This is supposed to be professional sports at the highest level. And they tell you how great LeBron James' competition was. And they tell you how, super LeBron James carried a bunch of nobodies to the NBA Finals. Now, we don't hear about any other era, any other champion carrying a bunch of nobodies to the NBA Finals. Okay, and how could he have won with that team? We just don't hear that. Especially from an all-time great player who's in the top 5. We never hear nothing like that. It just wasn't like that back in the day. So basically what they're saying, without even saying it, because they're trying to be funny, they're saying that LeBron James played no competition on the way to the NBA Finals. That's what they're really trying to say. It don't matter if it was 2007. It don't matter if it was 2000, whenever they say. Beyond 2007, I don't really know what they're talking about. Even if they said they were serious. Even if they was posing that the words coming out of their mouth was serious words, right? Because he played on a super team every year after that. 18, okay, it wasn't a super team, but he was still playing with Kevin Love, another team's number one franchise player. We know JR was on that team, J.R. Smith. He was a second option on any other team and probably could be a number one in that era, in the 210s. Yeah, that was a pretty good team. That was a pretty good team. Most of those guys on that 2008, 2017, 18 Cavs, most of those guys could be number two options on other teams. They could be number two options. Now, did I say they could be all-star number two options? Probably not. But let's remember, if I'm not mistaken, that team was like, I don't know, maybe they were like 13, like 3 or 4 coming into the playoffs as far as in the Eastern Conference. So it was up to, I think it was Boston, and I want to say Toronto, if I ain't mistaken. It was on teams like that, basically, and I think the Pacers might have been in the mix too. It was on those teams to put the Cavs out of their misery. But anybody who has a brain and can think past this comedy show, this bad drama they're trying to bring you with LeBron James, and was trying to keep the NBA afloat by putting the Cavs back in the NBA Finals so they can get some ratings, I guess. It was on those teams I spoke about that rolled the Cavs over, out their misery, because they just weren't that good in 2018. And you can see by the standings, they should have got beat. So nevertheless, Matthew Dellavedova was on that team in 15 and 16. It was a key member of playing hard-nosed defense, shut Steph Curry down in 2015 finals to where he couldn't remember. Unanimous MVP, couldn't put up no unanimous MVP numbers, so much that Iguodala got the finals MVP. So Matthew Dellavedova shut down Curry, and Andre Iguodala shut down LeBron James. That's the smoke screen they don't want you to see. They don't want you to see that. They don't want you to know that these things happen. Matthew Dellavedova, how can you win with this guy? Trash. Shut down Steph Curry, and then you had Andre Iguodala shut down LeBron James. I bet Draymond Green won't tell you that. And you know, this Draymond Green is a funny character. He's sitting in a room. I don't know who these guys are. These little young boys he's sitting in a room podcasting with. Just sounding like a complete idiot. This is what these guys do, man. These are supposed to be guys with millions of dollars, supposed to be professional type of NBA players. They're supposed to be professional in general. And they act like idiots. That's what they act like. You know, they don't make the money we were told, so they have the podcast to make money. And I wouldn't even doubt it if they're not even there. These are AI deepfakes. Any NBA player that has a podcast, I wouldn't even believe it was them. I wouldn't. A lot of people say, why Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce wear sunglasses? Because it's an AI deepfake generated podcast. Like most of these are. Stephen A. Smith's AI deepfake generated podcast. Probably Gilbert Arenas' AI deepfake podcast. And, okay, whatever. But a lot of regular people have AI deepfake generated podcasts. So why the hell wouldn't the people who have millions of dollars have it? Why would they spend their time, you know, trying to edit, cut, and get everything right? They'd be fumbling and bumbling over words. No, they just get an AI deepfake podcast. And they've been doing this before we even start doing it, before they gave the technology to us. These NBA players have been doing it. So that's all you're going to get out of Michael Jordan coming up pretty soon on NBC. All you're going to get is AI generated Michael Jordan. They got AI generated Michael Jordan out there now. they got him out there now. Yep. And it's just so obvious when you see the videos. It's ridiculous. Anyways, we've already talked about that. But you know, yeah, he won a championship, LeBron James, with Matthew Dellavedova in 2016. I wonder what he was doing on that team. If you can't win with this guy, why is he on the team? I mean, he's trash. He did win, I think it was like 3 gold medals in the FIBA. 3 gold medals in the FIBA for his country. I think it's Australia, New Zealand. And then I think he won a bronze medal in the Olympics. I mean, Then he won some type of, I don't know what is it, some finals MVP in some championship game, I think, over there. So I don't know what the big deal is with Matthew Dellavedova. He was on that team that got to the finals with the super team in 2015. And then again, he was on the team that got to the finals with the super team again in 2016. So I don't know what they're talking about. You can't win with Matthew Dellavedova. And Michael Jordan didn't have to work with a Matthew Dellavedova and get to they try to make it seem like he got to the finals with only Matthew Dellavedova and some role players. No, that was the super team. The only difference is that super team got hurt in 2015, which they were still up 2-1 on the Golden State Warriors. They were still up, no problem. And then LeBron James commits to meltdown. What was it, like 3 games in a row? Meltdown 3 games in a row while Iguodala locked his ass up. And, Matthew Dellavedova was like, what's going on, bro? We're up 2-1. I got Curry locked up. Can you just shoot 45% from the goddamn field? Can you just shoot 45% from the field so we can win this? And this is what I'm talking about. When these guys are getting slighted like that, clap back. You know how much these guys would make if they had a podcast just shaming LeBron James, his teammates? How much money would they make? Because you got all these liars out here pumping LeBron James up for being a failure, for being a loser, for being a meltdown artist, for being a choker, for having no overall skills at a high level. And at the same time condemning his teammates. How much money would they make, his teammates, on podcasts condemning LeBron James? And, turning the tables on LeBron James. They will make a lot of money. Why not? Why not? You even have LeBron James calling you guys minimums. I would be first to clap back on this dude if I was in their shoes. I don't understand why you do. Go make some money, because what you would say isn't fake. What you would say, you ain't making it up, because we ain't making it up, because the video footage is there, the history is there. Okay, all you would do was give us, more insight in details of the failures, of the meltdowns, of the letdowns, all this stuff. Because you were there. You were there. It's like Jason Kidd was there. Now we know he had to, babysit LeBron James in the Olympics, right? So, we know that now. Why don't his teammates come out and say something? And it means, to me, okay, it might mean something if they eventually do say something. But like I said, it's going to mean less. It's going to mean less if you want to come out later on after he's accused of these allegations. Okay, it's going to mean less to me than anything. Because if you say something after the guy retires, it means you was too scared to say something when he was still playing. Even though he can sit up there and shit all over your career, shit on you as a person, now you want to sit there and say something once this man retires, okay? Because, you're scared of your pitching, and you're scared of, I don't know what it is with these fools. I don't know. But with Michael Jordan, 88, 89, 90. 88, 89, 90. You could even say 91. Did Michael Jordan have any All-NBA teammates? No. In that time, 88, 89, 90, and 91. Did Michael Jordan have any All-NBA teammates? No. Did he have any All-Star teammates? One. In one time for those years, 4 years. So you go tell me 15, 16, 17, and 18. How many All-Star teammates and All-NBA teammates did LeBron James have? And actually, he had teammates that were leaders of other teams. This is how crazy it is, man. This is how crazy it is. Your GOAT has to play with other teams' number one franchise players. Remember, he's not a leader. He's not a leader. He has to win with other teams' number one franchise players. And they have the nerve to talk about this guy winning against some super teams. Never won a championship without another team's number one franchise player. Never. Never, ever, ever, ever. And when he played with them, these guys were in their primes. He didn't play with them when they were old, beat up, and broke up, like the Big Three Celtics in the 2000s came together, hobbling. The mighty Big Three Celtics, who only had first place in the East one time in all those years together. None of them even had MVP while they were together. That's crazy. I mean, that's just, when you think about it, what's crazier? The MVP? Okay, you can get over that. None of them never won an MVP while they were playing together. Okay. Or the fact that they only had the number one seed one time when they were together. And they only won the East one damn time together. That's just head scratching. Well, hold on now. Maybe even more head scratching with LeBron James' two super teams, Miami and Cleveland. He only had the number one seed one time each in those places. One time in Miami and one time in Cleveland. He only had the number one seed one damn time. That's crazy. I don't know if you want to say that's slow managing. Wow. To me, I told you what that was. I already told you what that was. Chill, have fun, and kind of act like we're not on a super team. That too. So somebody else can get the number one seed. But the biggest thing is, to get the number one seed, guess what? You have to play defense. You have to show up every night and play at a high level. So no, let's don't do that, because we have a super team. We can just skate our way to the NBA Finals. And it'll look like we really don't have a super team and we really played some type of competition. Because we weren't the number one seed. Even though we were predicted to be the best at the beginning of the season. Because we're on a super team, obviously. So Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen in 88, 89, 90, and he couldn't win? Because they're saying, Draymond Green saying that he had Scottie Pippen. He came in NBA ready. And sometimes they put in Horace Grant into the equation. So you're trying to tell me Michael Jordan couldn't go to the finals in 88, 89, 90 with these guys? Especially Scottie Pippen, who was already NBA ready, and Scottie Pippen this, Scottie Pippen that, he couldn't get to the NBA finals with him? But LeBron James could get to the NBA finals with a bunch of nobodies? You guys are funny, man. You guys are funny. You guys are funny. And like I said, it's the same narrative over and over. And I mean, they're stuck on repeat. Like the argument is stuck on repeat. It's crazy. I don't know, man. Can't win with Matthew Dellavedova. No, you got the two finals with this guy, one championship with Matthew Dellavedova on your super teams. So Matthew Dellavedova, he's a scapegoat now for being up 2-1. Wow. And like we said, LeBron James has carried a bunch of nobodies to the NBA Finals. I thought that was 2007, but now they're going into his second stint with the Cavs, and that team was a bunch of nobodies. It was even killed with the type of talent that was in the league. That was the type of talent that was in the league. And definitely the type of talent that was in the East. The type of talent that was in the East, it wasn't that good. LeBron James was going against subpar talent in the East compared to the West. And that's the only reason why he made it to the NBA Finals in the first place. It was, I don't know, man. I think the NBA is sad. Like I keep trying to tell you guys, this is all this stuff that these NBA players say. This is what the commissioner wants. They don't have no on-court greatness. It's sad, guys. I mean, now you got this Kawhi Leonard episode. It's just all entertainment, folks. That's all they got to get. They ain't got no on-court greatness. I mean, I don't know what to tell young people.